Alright guys, we are coming off the back of a hectic midweek batch of games in the Championship, but we're back again to preview all the games coming up this weekend. And as always, I want to hear from you in the comments down below. How do you see all of these matches unfolding? Lots of juicy games to get stuck into. Let's jump in. Starting out on Friday night at Bramall Lane for Sheffield United up against Hull. The standard at the top end of the Championship has been really high in recent weeks. In midweek, we saw Sheff United, Leeds, Sunderland and Burnley all picking up all 3 points. So it was a big 3 points for the Blades, coming back from a goal behind to beat Swansea 2-1. This one won't be a walk in the park against a Hull side who marginally were on the wrong side of that game against QPR in midweek, but even the games that Hull have been losing recently, they've all been quite tight and they've definitely been in all of the matches they've had under Ruben Sellers so far. For example, the last 5 defeats that Hull have had in the Championship have all been by just a 1-goal margin, so even in those games where they have been maybe a little bit unfortunate not to pick up anything, they definitely could have on a different day. Listen, going away to Bramall Lane is one of the toughest trips in the Championship. They've only lost once at home so far this season. I think Hull will keep it tight, but I think the Blades will just about edge this one. 1-0 Sheffield United, I'm saying, but Hull could throw up a surprise on the road there. After that, and to the first of the Saturday early kickoffs, we're going to Kenilworth Road for Luton up against Millwall. It's two sides not on a good run of form right now, and two sides who are both looking mentally a bit weak at the moment. For Matt Bloomfield, it's not been the desired start that he would have wanted at Luton. A pretty uninspiring goalless draw with Preston on his debut, followed up by a loss in midweek against Oxford, despite Luton taking the lead twice in that game. A very similar thing applied to Millwall in midweek. Thought they were looking quite good actually for the first half an hour of their game against Cardiff, but ultimately they had to settle for a point, with Cardiff getting back into it with a 97th minute equaliser. Going off the last 10 or so game weeks in the Championship, these two sides have been among the worst in the division of late. 3 points for either of them would be absolutely massive right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if this one ends as a stalemate. Score prediction there, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Next up, we're off to Carrow Road for Norwich up against Swansea. Norwich coming off the back of 2 really tough away matches. I think they'll be quite happy to be returning to Carrow Road here, coming off the back of consecutive defeats away at Bramall Lane and then a midweek away at Leeds United. Now there is a decent chance for Norwich to get a little bit of momentum back. 5 of their next 6 games are against teams currently in the bottom half of the Championship, and they've tended to be decent value for money at home this season. Going up against a Swansea side who aren't in the best moment right now, especially away from home where they have lost their last 3 matches. They're obviously coming off the back of a tough game themselves in midweek against Sheffield United. Think it'll be tight, but I'm just edging this one towards Norwich, I think. 2-1 Norwich, I'm saying, with the advantage of playing at home for that fixture. Next up, we go to Stoke up against Oxford. It's Gary Rowett returning to his former stomping ground, and you've got to have Oxford as the favourites for this one. Unbeaten in 7. It's now 5 wins in that time as well, and it's been absolutely miraculous, the turnaround at Oxford, considering the run of form that they were on before Rowett had inherited that squad. Another brilliant win for them in midweek, coming back twice against Luton to win that one 3-2. And yeah, they'll probably be fancying their chances against a Stoke side who, in contrast to Oxford's brilliant form of late, they've only won 1 of their last 14 Championship matches. It was a defeat for them in midweek, 3-1 away at Portsmouth. Defensively, Stoke looked pretty vulnerable in that game. Now, a draw here wouldn't massively surprise me. I've just got a feeling though that if Oxford score in the first half, especially if they take the lead, I think they've got the ability in this sort of match away from home to frustrate the hell out of Stoke. And with that in mind, I'm going to go 1-0 Oxford for this game. Fancy them for another 3 points there. After that, to Ashton Gate for Bristol City up against Blackburn. Blackburn right now just about clinging on to a place in the top 6, but no thanks to their recent form. It's just 1 win in their last 8 matches. Another loss for them in midweek, 2-0 at home against Coventry. And this one won't be easy against the Bristol City side who have had a bit about them recently. It was a point for Bristol City in midweek away at Sheffield Wednesday. Had to come back from behind twice in that game, and at Ashton Gate of late they've been pretty competitive. Bristol City have won their last 3 consecutive home matches, all without conceding a goal in that time. Now, albeit those 3 home matches were against Luton, Portsmouth and Derby, who, I mean, neither of them have been great on the road this season, but the form that Blackburn are currently in, The motivation for Bristol City in this game has to be if they win this one, they'll go to within 1 point of Blackburn and will really put themselves into playoff contention as well. I think it'll be tight, but I'm just edging to a Bristol City 1-0 home victory in that game. Next up we go to Cardiff up against Derby, a big game at the bottom of the Championship. Now, in the context of Cardiff's game against Millwall in midweek, the fact they were 2 goals down quite early on, that's a big point for them. You know, getting back into it with a 97th minute equaliser, there were some limbs in the away end for that one, and it now means it's 6 games unbeaten, which is a real confidence booster going into this game against a Derby side who are in totally the opposite form right now. They've lost 5 on the bounce, they failed to score in 4 of their last 5. Defensively, they're looking incredibly short right now, and it just feels like a perfect opportunity for Cardiff to capitalise on that. I know there's been a lot of draws in there for Cardiff recently. Derby will look to make this game quite tight, and I'm sure would probably take a point right now. But from what I've seen of these two sides over the last few weeks, I just think Cardiff have got more about them right now. Score prediction for that game, I'm going to go 2-0 Cardiff, which would really put Derby in some danger. Next up we go to Coventry up against Watford. It was a good win for Coventry in midweek. Only the second time this season that Coventry have put together back-to-back wins, so now a bit of a chance to build on that momentum against a Watford side who have been looking out of sorts recently. Obviously, I was paying close attention to Watford in midweek with them up against my side, North End. Didn't think they looked particularly great, to be honest with you. I think you can definitely get at that back line right now. Don't get me wrong, towards the end of the game, Vata scored an absolute cracker, and after that point, when there was about 7 or 8 minutes of added time, Watford were threatening to get back into it and could have nicked a late point from that one. But on reflection of the whole game, I thought Watford were looking pretty out of sorts, to be honest with you, which has looked the case in a few matches I've seen of them recently, with Coventry building a little bit of momentum right now, having kept back-to-back clean sheets. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Coventry win in that game, which would be, a big result. That would be 3 wins on the bounce if they get that result. Next then we go to Deepdale for Preston up against Middlesbrough. Interesting matchup this one. Preston coming off the back of, I have to say, a really good performance in midweek, following on from that goalless draw against Luton over the weekend, which was a little bit uninspiring, to be honest with you. Thought we played some really nice stuff in the final third against Watford, got into plenty of goal-scoring positions, could have easily scored more than 2 goals in that game, and we come into this Middlesbrough game now with a decent feeling about ourselves. It's just 2 losses in our last 13 matches. At Deepdale especially, we have been pretty hard to beat this season. The last time we lost at home, you're going all the way back to the start of November, but the threat of Middlesbrough is obvious, and if they do score early on in this game, they absolutely have the quality to take this one away from us. It was a good win for Michael Carrick's side in midweek. 2 quality goals in that game from Hackney and Doak. North End will look to make this one tight, stifle Middlesbrough's threats. I'm going to say we can nick a point from it, though. I do think we tend to raise our games against the top side. Score prediction there, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. After that, we go to Loftus Road for QPR up against Sheffield Wednesday. I feel like I'm saying this most weeks about QPR, but I really have to tip my hat to them right now. They've gone from the foot of the Championship to now becoming playoff challengers. It's been an absolutely miraculous run of form of late. Over their last 12 league games, they've been averaging 2.25 points per game, which is absolutely obscene. During that run of their last 12 matches, only Leeds have been able to match QPR in terms of that points per game record. Another good win for them in midweek against a Hull side who have been a pretty tough nut to crack recently. QPR's second goal in that game especially was an absolutely fantastic finish. Now, Sheffield Wednesday are certainly no mugs right now, but the vulnerability with this Wednesday team at the moment is they're just conceding way too many goals. I think it's now 15 goals they've conceded in their last 6 matches. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been some tough games in there for Wednesday of late, but with the form QPR have been in of late, Wednesday tend to give the opposition quite a few chances at goal. I'm going to go 2-1 QPR in that game. After that, to the Stadium of Light for Sunderland up against Plymouth. Now, coming off the back of the midweek we've just had in the Championship, it would be absolutely peak Championship for Plymouth to walk away with something from this game, but I really can't see anything other than a Sunderland resounding win, to be honest with you. Sunderland still unbeaten at home so far this season, Plymouth yet to win on the road, and Plymouth coming off the back of an absolutely horrendous performance in midweek, losing 5-0 against Burnley. Could have been a lot worse, Burnley. I think we're happy to sort of put the handbrake on in the second half and just play it around, but to find yourselves 5 goals down at home at half time, immediately you're then thrown into a really tough game now against Sunderland. You'd fancy Sunderland to get quite a few goals for this one. Now, to be fair, Sunderland haven't been incredibly free scoring in their last few matches. They've not scored more than 2 goals in any of their last 7, but this feels like a really good opportunity for a few of their forwards to boost up their scoring numbers for the season. Score prediction in that one, I'm going to go 4-0 Sunderland. It's really tough to see anything past that sort of result. After that, to the Hawthorns for West Brom up against Portsmouth. Now, fortunately for West Brom, while they have dropped off a little bit in recent weeks, we've also seen Blackburn and Watford sort of dropping off at the same time as well. So they're still within, touching distance of the top 6, only 1 point separating them from Blackburn right now. Coming off the back of a 2-0 loss in midweek against Middlesbrough, this feels like a decent opportunity to get back to winning ways. Don't get me wrong, Portsmouth at Fratton Park recently have been absolutely brilliant, and it feels like Portsmouth are sort of turning into the Plymouth Argyle of last season, where they win all of their home matches but then seem to come unstuck in a lot of their away fixtures. For Portsmouth, they've won their last 4 games at home and they've lost their last 5 games on the road, so there is a bit of a pattern emerging right there. Score prediction for this one, I'm going to go 2-0 West Brom and back them to get back to winning ways in that one. And then to round things off on Monday night for one of the biggest games of the season so far, we're heading to Turf Moor for Burnley up against Leeds. And honestly, this game really could go either way. I wouldn't begrudge you for predicting this game as a Burnley win, a Leeds win, or if you're sticking down the middle for a draw. Burnley are obviously coming off the back of a tremendous result in midweek, a real confidence booster, you could call it. 5-0 against Plymouth. So far this season, the vast majority of Burnley games they've tended to keep pretty tight, haven't they? But I mean, they just absolutely blew Plymouth out of the water for that game. I don't think we're going to get the same story in this one against Leeds. I think it will be a really tight affair, but Burnley definitely have the capabilities to really play on a few Leeds' weaknesses for this game, make it tough for them and just frustrate the hell out of them, because for as good as Leeds have been at home recently, they made it back-to-back wins at Ellen Road with those 2 wins over Sheff Wednesday and Norwich recently. Really comfortable in both games. They scored early on in each of them, kept clean sheets as well. While there is that sort of sense of inevitability about Leeds always winning at Ellen Road, I still don't get that same feeling with them on the road. All 3 of the games that Leeds have lost so far this season have been 1-0 to the opposition, and that's just such a Burnley thing and Scott Parker thing to do, isn't it? Frustrate the hell out of your opposition, take your chance when it comes along, and just keep it very tight. Leeds have been better on the road of late, albeit they drew 3-3 with Hull last time, but I still don't feel like Daniel Farke has completely cracked the code in away matches. In the reverse fixture, Burnley did win 1-0. I've got a gut feeling that maybe Burnley just sneak this one, and that would make things interesting at the top. If Burnley do win this game, they'll go level on points with Leeds, whereas if Leeds win it, they'll really start to pull clear of 3rd place. So to keep things interesting at the top, I'm going to go 1-0 Burnley in that game, but honestly, that one could go either way. Well guys, there you have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and make sure to drop all your score predictions in the comments down below. Other than that though guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.